Some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad. Other things just make you sweat and curse. If you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle, and this'll make things turn out for the best. Nuts to that, some things are just damn annoying, and they're worth having a moan about. Here are some of mine. So here are the top 13 things that really annoy me. If you agree with them or not, let me know in the comments below. A great place to start. Number 13, superstition. Why? Why do people hold lots of superstitious beliefs? Why is a black cat unlucky? And, I mean, if you own a black cat, you've had it. People worry about walking under ladders in case it brings them bad luck. No, this just a risk something might drop on you. It's got nothing to do with bad luck. Walking on cracks in the pavement. What's that supposed to do? People have got a hang up about numbers, like 13 or 33. It's just a number. Before was number 12, afterwards is number 14. Big deal, get over it. I was in a car with a neighbour and she was driving along and all of a sudden she started waving her arms around, letting go in the steering wheel. I said, what the hell are you doing? She said, oh, I'm pretending to throw salt over my shoulder. I said, why? She said, I just saw a magpie. That'll bring me bad luck. The only bad luck we're going to have is you letting go of the steering wheel, causing us to crash and die. It's ridiculous. And what about it's bad luck to cross on the stairs? You go to a railway station or something like that, you've got big flights of stairs, people streaming up and other people streaming down. A few of those have crossed each other on the stairs. Are you saying you've all got bad luck for the rest of the day? And for the rest of the day, never mind that, what about breaking a mirror? 7 years bad luck. Wow, that seems a bit harsh. And what is this all based on? Why is there supposed to be bad luck? Why not good luck if you see a white cat? And what about that common thing where someone says something and they say, oh, touch wood? What the hell is that going to do? Especially as most of the time they're actually touching formica or something with a wood effect pattern. That's helpful. Mugs. There is almost nothing I like better than a nice, sweet, strong mug of tea or a good hot mug of coffee. This is a mug. It's a decent size. It's a standard shape. It's got nice thick walls, holds a decent amount of drink. Excellent. What the hell is this? A tiny little teacup that wouldn't satisfy anyone. But you think that's bad? I look in my cupboard. What do I find? I find stupid things like this. Where the hell did this come from? Why is it that stupid shape? The walls are really thin. Your drink's going to get cold. You think that's bad? What else did I find? A ridiculous Harry Potter cup. It's thick, it's a stupid shape. Why? The other thing about all this lot is you can't stack them properly. You look in your shelf and what have you got? This. Absolutely ridiculous. Mugs will stack neatly, you can arrange them neatly to maximise space, and they don't offend my CDO. For those who don't know, CDO is like OCD, but the letters are in the proper order. Wallpaper is something that I absolutely will not have in my house, although my missus really likes it. Why, I hear you ask? Well, I'll tell you. First of all, you have all the trouble of choosing a wallpaper with some pattern that you're both happy with. The colours have to tie in, apparently, to everything else in your house. Then, if you've got that decided, what do you have to do? You have to spend hours sticking up all this wallpaper, covering it in paste, a messy business, and getting it bubble and wrinkle free. And then the next strip you put up has to align properly so the pattern works. If you've had wallpaper up and you decide to change it, well, you've got to scrape it all off, like this. What a pain in the backside. And of course, without doubt, using a scraper, you're going to take gouges out of the plasterwork. Brilliant, which means more repairs. If you've got a paper up that you're happy with, the first time someone scrapes against it, it's going to get damaged and you can't repair it. And if you have papered your room with a pattern you're happy with no wrinkles, no bubbles, all the rolls aligned, no damage, what happens? In 2 years' time you say, oh, I don't like that pattern anymore. We've got to take it all off and start again. The answer, my friend, is rolled paint. An hour to paint a room, job done. Fashion. Now, nobody likes fashion more than me, except my wife and a few of her friends and the people next door actually, and most of my work colleagues. Come to think of it, most people like fashion more than me. However, that's no excuse to become a fashion victim. A friend of ours visited a few years back and they were wearing a pair of these. When I saw them, I just burst out laughing. It obviously upset her because she took them back. What a stupid, stupid design for some footwear, separate big toe pockets. On one occasion, I was chatting with a guy I used to work with. He had a jumper on, and across the chest of the jumper was a word, and one or two of the threads were coming out, and he was picking at it. He wasn't very happy. I asked him why, and he said because he just bought this designer jumper. I said, what is Moschino? He said, it's a designer brand. How much did that jumper cost you? £200. £200! I wouldn't have paid 25 quid for it. It's no different than any other jumper, except for it had a word Moschino across it that was coming unpicked. And some people are conned and pay an awful lot of money for fashion, but some people are pure fashion victims. They're wearing utter stupidity, like this. And if you think that's bad, how about this? Just what the hell is wrong with people? I think they should all dress like me. Another thing that can really annoy me is my wife. I'm explaining something to her, perhaps about how the universe was created, perhaps about some political tricky situation, or perhaps about what occasional tables are the rest of the time. And she says to me, "Oi, John, stop moaning." This is really annoying because I'm not moaning, I'm just putting the universe to rights. I don't understand why she can't just accept it and know that I'm right. So if we're taking one of these examples, like for instance, how to solve the Middle East crisis, and I'm explaining how it should be done, and she accused me of moaning, I think perhaps it'd be best if they just put her in charge. Broccoli. Just don't. Subtitles. Now, I don't have a problem with subtitles per se. I mean, if I'm watching an interesting foreign language film, I want to know what's happening. Subtitles, game changer. What I do have an issue with is what my daughters do. They're watching any television, they'll put on subtitles. I mean, they're speaking in English. You speak English and you've got English subtitles on. What's the point? And for me, it's just too distracting. I'm watching a film and every time they speak, boom, look down, look down, look down. I'm listening to him in English, I know what he's saying, I don't have to read it as well. That's just stupid. Along those lines, I've got a bugbear with Netflix. Their whole subtitle thing is just nuts. I was watching a film just last night and they started speaking Russian. All I needed was subtitles to pop up in English so I knew what they were saying. It was important to the story. So I go down to subtitles. There aren't proper subtitles, there's only the closed captions for the deaf, which is fine. But I don't want to have to switch it on just to hear what the Russians say, and then when it goes back to English speaking, whoa, I've got loads of captions I don't need that also say things like phone rings from the next room, sound of quiet music. I don't need to know that. What I want is just translated subtitles. And worse than that, I even had an occasion where it says, "Man speaks in foreign language." I know he's speaking in a foreign language. I can't understand it. The job of a subtitle is to tell me what he's saying, not to tell me this is something you can't understand. Brilliant. Sci-fi fantasy. Now, I like sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek, dystopian futures, time travel, space exploration, future technologies, viral pandemics. I like it all. I even like some fantasy, like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Brilliant books, brilliant films. Fantastic. Sci-fi is not fantasy. Fantasy is not sci-fi. So why the hell is it always called sci-fi stroke fantasy? If I go to a bookshop, they're all in the same section and I'm struggling to find the sci-fi I want. If I'm looking on a streaming service, they're always put together. They're nothing like each other. Sci-fi is based on, loosely sometimes, scientific principles. They're all possibilities. Maybe very unlikely, but they're possibilities. Fantasy, on the other hand, is elves and warlocks and casting spells and 2,000-year-old swords thrust in stone that you have to go on a 6-month quest for that solve all life's problems. It's not the same thing. It's bloody annoying. Stop it. Following on from mugs, dishwashers. I love dishwashers. Brilliant invention. Save you all that messing around with hot water. They're efficient. They do a good job. Brilliant. Why can't people just stack them properly? Arranging your standard mugs in a nice pattern means you get an awful lot of them in. Why can't people do that? Why do they just chuck them all in straight rows with massive gaps? Or they put in bowls. You take a bowl and another bowl, put them like that. How the hell is it going to clean the insides? Is this some sort of magic water? These aren't microwaves that are going to work through the cutlery and the crockery. It's got to be able to get the water on it. How is this so hard? And then I come to empty dishwasher. What have people done with their stupid mugs? They've put them in that way and they're full of dirty water. It can't be that difficult. Actually, I came up with a cracking idea. I think that all cupboards should be dishwashers. So you don't have to stack a dishwasher and then empty it. You just put everything away in the cupboard and everything gets washed every night. Apple computers. Have a look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. It looks amazing, and I'm sure that technologically it's wonderful. The problem is it doesn't talk to anything else. I remember the computers when they first started coming out to the masses in the 80s. Every manufacturer had their own standards. Nothing would talk to anything else. You wanted to print, you needed a special cable. You wanted to connect this to that, you couldn't do it. The data from one program couldn't be read into another. It was a right pain in the backside. Then eventually everything settled down based on the IBM PC and we had standards. You could plug and play. Brilliant. Then along come Apple and nothing works anymore. Yes, Apple will work with Apple. That's brilliant. As long as you just want Apple. As long as you want to pay 3 times the price for something that does basically the same sort of thing. Case in point, my daughter recently bought an Apple AirTag. Amazing. I'm stunned with its capabilities. But I can't track it. It won't talk to Android phones, for instance. Why? I'm not going to go entirely Apple, ditch all my equipment just so that I can have an Apple AirTag. Why don't they make it so that non-Apple products can talk to it? I think they make a lot more money. But there we go. Apple, you're a pain in the backside. Of course, no list like this would be complete without flat earthers. Please note, I'm not saying flat earth. Flat earth is fun, it's interesting. When people have made arguments for it, I've had to learn a lot of things to be able to debunk and counter their wild and wacky claims. No, it's not flat earth itself, it's flat earthers. When they're presented with slam dunk evidence, they just ignore it. When they come up with some wobbly explanation for something like, say, how the sun sets, that explanation runs counter to other claims they've made. It doesn't work altogether. Now, some of these people just don't understand, and that's fine, and hopefully eventually they'll learn. But others are con artists, they're scammers, they're liars, they're Oakleys. Did I say that out loud? Now, a lot of them happen to be religious, not a problem in itself, but why the hell would God make an entire universe stretching billions and billions of light years and then place us on a little flat disk with a dome over it? It's pathetic. If you're going to make a claim, you need to show evidence. If someone's countering you with evidence, you need to deal with it. What you don't do is just lie, unless you're a flat earther. Mobile phones. Well, not actually mobile phones, but the way some people tend to use them. I've no problem really with people using mobile phones even in public places, like on a train or whatever. That's not the issue. What's the issue is these idiots who decide to put it on speakerphone. So you're sat there quietly, maybe enjoying a book or perhaps having a meal, and this happens.
Yeah, it didn't go so well, Dave. She wasn't impressed, and she said to me, "Oh, that's awfully small, isn't it?" Yeah, I know. And then she told me that it shouldn't have those strange swellings on it, or odd hairs growing out at strange places. Yeah, I know, but I'm going to have a go at it with a pin and see if I can pop it later, or I'll have to make sure I've got something to clean up the mess.
So how bloody annoying is that? Guys, I've come up with a solution. Instead of holding your phone like this, with the volume turned right up, so everyone else has to suffer your embarrassing conversations, do this. Amazing. And now we come to my number one bugbear, the thing that annoys me most. It's God. Now, it's not those who hold a religious belief, it's not those who believe in God, it's God himself who's the problem. I don't think he's done a very good job. For instance, take something like the weather. Why do we get freezing cold days? Why do we get floods? Why do we get miserable weather? Why not pick a really nice day, about 21 degrees, and make all days the same? Now, God is supposed to have created everything, all the creatures that crawl, swim and fly on this spherical earth. So why would he create something like a virus, something that's going to make you feel sick, give you nasty sores and then kill you? He makes our bodies frail. We have to worry about what we eat and how we exercise. Why? Why doesn't he make a damn good fry-up health food? Why doesn't he design our bodies so that getting smashed out of our tiny brains on a Friday night is actually a positive health move you could make? And of course, God wants us to believe in him so that we can be saved. So why doesn't he leave a massive clue that nobody could deny? What about flashing neon letters that appear in the sky every Tuesday morning at about 10 o'clock that nobody can explain, telling you exactly how to be saved? Oh no, instead of that, we get some carpenter 2,000 years ago, when people could barely write, who give us the answer. What we need is God to appear now, worldwide, on the internet. Something absolutely undeniable. A miracle, maybe. Not some story about going to a party and turning some water into wine. And actually, if you're going to do that, I'll have a nice Chardonnay. And then, of course, God creates loads of silly rules. Things like not to wear a cloth of two different threads. Why? Does it matter if you've got a cotton shirt on with nylon stitching? Why the hell should that matter? Having then created the universe, created us, and laid down lots and lots of silly rules that we should live by, under threat of eternal damnation and torture and misery and broccoli and lots of horrible things like that, what happens? Those that actually do apparently try and follow these rules, that do apparently believe in God, can't even agree amongst themselves exactly what God is. So apparently, as part of creation, we're all given minds with which to think. And then when we use them, they tend to disprove that God exists. For instance, many Christians will believe the creation theory. Unfortunately, all the evidence points to a cosmological Big Bang, followed by immense time periods, followed by abiogenesis and evolution. All the evidence so far backs that up, and not that God exists. So why would you do this, God? Why would you bury a fossil record that points to transitions over time supporting evolutionary theory? Why would you create DNA that also points to evolutionary theory if evolution isn't what happened? It's just silly, it's unnecessary, and I think it's a bit mean. Now God, if you're really there, why don't you pop into this video and tell us we're all wrong? I mean, how hard can it be?
Don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't, hit subscribe. Oh, and sharing it with your friends would be a good idea. If you don't, I shall smite you down for your naughtiness.